Our City Council meeting is now in session. Today is Monday, May 2nd, 2022. Please rise for the invocation and the pledge of allegiance. Father, we thank you for the wonderful community in which we live, and once again for the opportunity to represent it as our City Council. We ask you to help us to continue to grow, to become the best leaders that we can be, and to bless all those who live and work in the city of North Ridgeville. We pray that you'll guide us, all those in our community, to be respectful, helpful, and kind neighbors to one another. We pray these things in your name. Amen. I pledge allegiance to the flag of the United States of America and to the republic for which it stands, one nation, under God, indivisible, with liberty and justice for all. Please call the roll.
White. Here.
Booth. Here. Avon.
Here.
Winkle.
Here.
Haywood.
Here.
DeVries. Here. Jacobs.
Here.
Mayor.
Here.
Service Director.
Here.
Law Director.
Here.
Engineer.
Here.
Auditor.
Here.
Clerk Council. Here.
Okay, so next before us, we have the City Council meeting minutes dated April 18th, 2022. Are there any changes or corrections to those minutes? Hearing none, the minutes are approved as submitted. And please note, we also have before us this evening the Finance Committee meeting minutes dated November 3rd, 2021 and November 4th, 2021. That brings us to the lobby session. In a few moments, we'll open the lobby portion of our meeting to allow audience members the opportunity to address City Council or the City Administration regarding the business of City Council or any matters pertaining to the general affairs of the City of North Ridgeville. Anybody who wishes to speak will be asked to speak up on the podium and will be allowed up to 3 minutes to speak. So at this time, the lobby session is open. Is there anybody who wishes to address council this evening? We ask that you start by stating your name and address for the record, please. And once you do so, your 3 minutes will begin.
Thank you. My name is John Bertochnik. My address is 5553 Main Avenue, North Ridgeville, Ohio. I wanted to know if the city is going to be looking into ordinances for fireworks. We really had a bad experience last year. Last year was the worst for us. One of the neighbors was shooting off firework and he was setting fires in our on our property. I can imagine what it's going to be like with the change in the law where you're allowed to have fireworks. My concern is things could really be turned bad. Setting a house on fire, someone like my own household, my wife has some mobility issues, trying to get out of the house. And this would really turn ugly fast. One neighbor says, what's the chances of this ever happening? And I said to him, what are the chances of the city of North Ridgeville having a kangaroos in the city? It can happen. Thank you.
Thank you very much for being here, for offering your concerns.
Thanks, John.
Is there anybody else who wishes to? Again, if you could start by stating your name and address, please.
My name is Jeremy Snyder. My address is 33899 Gilbert Court. My wife spoke last meeting, and 2 weeks have passed. We were grateful to receive the law department reply midday Thursday passed. And while I appreciate the response, it seems to be stretching the definitions and historical facts. And just a couple of examples that I'd like to point out and just raise to the attention of everyone. Claims that the easement exists to the city, but that it doesn't impose any duties and obligations. Not sure why anyone would agree to an easement with no purpose. The legal definition of an easement is a right to cross or otherwise use someone else's land for a specified purpose. To me, that seems obvious. Claims that the city consistently denied similar requests. Yet this is the second time that I've called, and in 2011 it was dealt with. In 2022 now it's denied, or referred to the law department, I should say. I'm sorry. Not necessarily denied yet, but it seems to be. If the city has an easement, which seems to be acknowledged in his first bullet point, then They are the only entity that can determine the source of the problem, which is all the standing water along the south edge of our properties on Gilbert Court. And even though they aren't obligated to maintain and repair it, couldn't the city take a complaint like ours and use the easement to inspect and determine who's at fault? Taking my complaint and considering it a nuisance or something under one of these ordinances that I've been pointing out. And finally, the city council may not have approved our plat 23 years ago. Maybe it wasn't done correctly. I have no idea. I wasn't here 23 years ago. But whatever that process was or did or didn't happen, you know, at a minimum, the city and its officials, the inspectors, the engineers, the service department, over 23 years, nobody's come and corrected that plat or redirected this problem until now. And again, it was dealt with in 2011. It's documented in the service department records from my address, if you'd like to look it up. So again, I'm here asking for help in determining the cause and helping us work towards a resolution. History's great. I appreciate all the history, but we need resolution. We need movement, and I need some way to move forward. So I would be happy with the city just inspecting and ensuring that the neighbors aren't allowed to leave this important drain clogged or blocked. Because just like other things, I can't leave my yard unmowed without somebody coming and posting a sign and finding me at some point, right? And I can't make excessive noise 24/7 without somebody coming and addressing the issue. I've had water sitting in the back of my yard now for 6-8 weeks or more. That's when we started keeping track of it. Nobody's willing to come out and address the issue with my neighbors. I've tried.
Thank you, Mr. Schneider. Is there anybody else who wishes to address council or the administration? Okay, hearing none, the lobby session is now closed, and we'll move on to administrative reports. Mr. Mayor, the floor is yours.
Thank you, Mr. President. Under tonight's agenda, on the first readings, there are several items that I'll be asking for the emergency clause on. First one being T73. That's a settlement agreement with the city of Avon, payment of outstanding water bills and infiltration fees. The second one is T74, which is the collective bargaining agreement with the Ohio Patrolmen's Benevolent Association, the blue unit and the white unit. T75, which is the Fire Station 2 concrete driveway. T76, which is an ordinance to purchase right-of-way property that we need for the roundabout project up at Avalon Mills and Stony. And T77 as it relates to the American Rescue Plan Act. I'll go into further detail as we get to each one of those. As a reminder, tomorrow begins the revised trash collection service provided by Republic Services. We've mentioned before how bulk pickup now is every single week. Yard waste collection is also every single week, and it is now available to pack that yard waste into clear plastic bags. You can still use the brown paper bags, but you can put them in plastic bags, clear plastic bags if you'd like to. And then tomorrow is election day. Don't forget to vote. Lots of important issues on the ballot for tomorrow. This Saturday is a busy day here in North Ridgeville. We have the annual fishing derby that begins at 7 a.m. until 7:30 a.m. until noon. It's for ages 3 through 18. You can register for that derby on the Park and Rec's website. It is also Discover the Ridge. If you haven't picked up one of these colorful brochures put out, this event is put on by our Visitors Bureau. There's a lot of local businesses that are taking part in this event. You can see all the fun-filled businesses that are located in the city of North Ridgeville. The kickoff is at LCCC's Ridge campus at 10 a.m. and there's 24 locations taking part in the event. Saturday at noon is the grand opening ceremony for Discount Drug Mart. It is, obviously open and has been for several weeks, but this is the formal opening for that. There's a rumor that there'll be some mascot there and there'll be hot dogs for sale, and use those funds to donate to a local charity, and it happens to be Community Care. So stop on by for that event as well. And also this weekend, it is Mother's Day on Sunday. Don't forget, your mother would be sad. You don't want that. At this point in time, I make a motion to go into executive session to discuss T73 and 74. Those are the settlement of the past due water bills and infiltration fees with the city of Avon, and also the collective bargaining agreement, or affectionately known as the union contracts for the blue and white units of the police department.
It was moved by the mayor and seconded by Winkle to go into executive session for the purposes of discussing T73 and T74 as the mayor described. Clerk, please call the roll.
Swink,
Yes.
Moose,
Yes.
David,
Yes.
Winkle,
Yes.
Haywick,
Yes.
Reese. Yes. Jacobs.
Yes. Passes. We will adjourn into executive session.
See you.
right, at this time, the council meeting is now back in session. Mr. Mayor, please continue with your report.
Thank you, Mr. President. At this point, my report is concluded. Thank you very much.
All right, thank you. Mr. State Service Director.
Other than the fact I'm glad to be back, I have no report.
We're glad you're back. Thanks. Engineer.
Thank you, Mr. President. I just wanted to give a couple construction updates. Engineering department appreciates everybody's patience on the Center Ridge Road sanitary sewer extension. We got off to a rough start with our contractor, with Fabrizi. There were some unforeseen conditions we had to deal with, but they're making great strides, and we hope to finish up the project by the end of June. So if you continue your patience, we appreciate that. The Lorraine Road water main extension, we just had a pre-construction report or a pre-construction meeting this morning. And Fedco's our contractor, and they'll be, if all the materials come in on time, they'll be starting work hopefully the first week of June. And that project is expected to go till the end of August. And that concludes my report.
Okay, thank you. Ms. Auditor.
Nothing to say, thank you.
Okay. Under other reports, we have the March 2022 Police Department report as well as the March 2022 Water Distribution. Council committee reports. We do have two this evening. Clerk, if you could please read the first report.
Utilities Committee report dated April 18th, 2022, which recommends the City Council to consider T64-2022 for adoption.
Mr. President,
Yes, Mr. Bruce.
I'll make a motion that council accepts the report.
Second.
Motion was made by Booth and seconded by Winkle to accept the Utilities Committee report. All in favor say yes.
Yes.
All opposed say no. Clerk, please read the second committee report.
Building and Lands Committee report dated April 25th, 2022, which recommends the City Council to consider T57-2022 and T58-2022 for adoption.
Mr. President,
Yes, Mr. Winkle.
I'd like to move for council to accept this report.
Second.
It was moved by Winkle and seconded by DeVries to accept the Buildings and Lands Committee report. All in favor say yes.
Yes.
All opposed say no. There is no correspondence this evening or old business on the agenda. Under new business, we have a liquor permit request. Clerk, please read the request.
A request from the Ohio Division of Liquor Control for a permit for Joseph F. Trucker, DBA City Limits at 39462 Center Ridge Road.
Mr. President,
Yes, Mr. DeVries.
I move to not request a hearing so that this permit can be sent to the state with final deposition by May 16, 2022.
Second.
It was moved by DeVries and seconded by Swank to not request a hearing so that this permit can be sent to the state for final disposition by the deadline. All in favor say yes.
Yes.
All opposed? That brings us to recess.
Mr. President, I didn't move to dispense of recess.
Second.
It's moved by Winkle and seconded by DeVries to dispense with recess. All in favor say yes.
Yes.
All opposed say no. Okay, skipping past recess, we will move on to the first readings. And up first, we have T73. Please read that, clerk.
T73-2022, an ordinance authorizing the mayor of the city of North Ridgeville, Ohio, to enter into a settlement agreement with the city of Avon for the payment of outstanding water bills and infiltration dues.
Mr. President,
Yes, Mr. Mayor.
move to dispense with the second and third readings for T73. Second.
It was moved by the mayor, seconded by Winkle to dispense with the second and third readings for T73.
Mr. President, if I might add, this is an issue that's been outstanding for 15 plus years. It is a difficult item for us to resolve, but we've reached an agreement with the city of Avon, and we'd be happy to wrap this up and put this behind us.
Very good. Thank you for that explanation. It was moved by the mayor and seconded by Winkle to dispense with the second and third readings for T-73. All in favor, say yes.
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 All opposed, say no.
Mr. President, move to adopt first. And move to add the emergency, Mr. President. Second. For the reasons stated earlier.
It was moved by the mayor and seconded by Winkle to add the emergency clause to T-73 for the reasons stated earlier by the mayor. On that emergency clause alone, all in favor, say yes.
Yes.
All opposed, say no. It was then moved by the mayor and seconded by Winkle to adopt T-73 with that emergency clause in place. This time, are there any comments or questions? Hearing none, clerk, please call the roll.
Swink,
Yes.
Luce,
Yes.
Stevens,
Yes.
Winkle,
Yes.
Haywick,
Yes.
DeVries,
Yes.
Jacobs.
Yes.
Motion carries unanimously and becomes 5946-2022.
T-74.
T-74-2022, an ordinance authorizing the mayor of the city of North Ridgeville, Ohio to enter into a collective bargaining agreement, the Ohio Patrolmen's Benevolent Association, Blue Unit and White Unit.
Mr. President,
Yes,
move to
Mr.
dispense with the second and third readings.
Second.
Mr. President, we're fortunate in the city to have an excellent police force. And it is one of the reasons why we are one of the safest cities in Ohio and one of the safest cities in the United States. They do an excellent job. We're happy to have them. And we're especially happy that the community decided to build a new police station for them. So, this negotiation, while it took a while, I believe came to a fair resolution, and we're happy to move forward with this and put this in place as soon as possible. So I will be asking for the emergency clause on this as well.
Okay, very good. The motion was made by the mayor and seconded by Awig to dispense with the second and third readings for T-74. All in favor, say yes.
Yes.
All opposed, say no.
Mr. President, move to adopt.
Second.
Mr. President, move to add the emergency clause for the reasons stated earlier.
Second.
And Mr. President, I'd like to just point out that Officer Zingali is here, who is one of the negotiators for the blue and white unit. And appreciate his work on that as well.
Thank you. The motion was made by the mayor and seconded by Awig to add the emergency clause to T-74 for the reasons stated earlier by the mayor. On that emergency clause alone, all in favor say yes.
Yes.
All opposed, say no. It was then moved by the mayor and seconded by Awig to adopt T-74 with the emergency clause in place. At this time, are there any comments or questions? Hearing none, clerk, please call the roll.
Swink,
Yes.
Luce,
Yes.
Havens,
Yes.
Winkle,
Yes.
Haywick,
Yes.
DeVries,
Yes.
Jacobs.
Yes.
Ordinance carries unanimously and becomes 5947-2022.
T-75.
Removal T-75-2022, an ordinance authorizing the mayor to advertise for bids and enter into a contract according to the law and in a manner prescribed by law with the lowest and best bidder for the fire station number 2 driveway replacement project and other apprentices not to exceed $100,000.
Mr. President, move to dispense with the second and third readings, please.
Second.
Mr. President, as you all know, or should, if you drove by there and looked at the driveway, it's in rough shape over there. We've had some luck with a previous concrete bid that came in under budget or estimates. So we're interested in getting this project bid out as soon as possible so we can replace that driveway and get it in good shape. So we'll time up the driveway completion with the construction completion. So I'll be asking to add the emergency clause for those reasons in just a moment.
The motion was made by the mayor and seconded by Haywick to dispense with the second and third readings for T-75. All in favor say yes.
Yes.
All opposed, say no.
Mr. President,
Yes, Mr.
move to
Winkle.
adopt.
Second.
Mr. President, move to add the emergency clause for reasons stated by the mayor.
Second.
It was moved by Winkle and seconded by Booth to add the emergency clause to T75 for the reasons stated earlier by the mayor. On the emergency clause alone, all in favor say yes.
Yes.
All opposed say no. It was then moved by Winkle and seconded by Booth to adopt T75 with the emergency clause in place. At this time, are there any comments or questions?
Mr. President,
Yes, Mr.
yeah, just a note to remind council that we did discuss this in appropriations and the money has been appropriated.
Very good, Mr. Booth. Thank you. Are there any other comments or questions? Hearing none, clerk, please call the roll.
Swank,
Yes.
Luce,
Yes.
Havens,
Yes.
Winkle,
Yes.
Haywick,
yes,
DeVries,
Yes.
Jacobs.
Yes.
Motion carries unanimously, becomes ordinance 5948-2022.
T76.
76-2022, an ordinance authorizing the mayor to enter into a contract with Judith Gill, Beth Mata, and Nancy Welter for the purchase of vacant land in the amount of $26,450.01, plus any additional costs such as customary closing costs.
Mr. President,
Yes, Mr. Mayor.
move to dispense with the second and third readings.
second,
Mr. President, this land is located at the southeast corner of Mills and Stony Ridge. This is in anticipation of constructing the roundabout in that section. And we're looking to purchase that so we can move forward with the project.
Okay, it was moved by the mayor and seconded by Awig to dispense with the second and third readings for T76. All in favor say yes.
Yes.
All opposed, no.
Mr. President, move to adopt.
second,
Mr. President, move to add the emergency clause so that way we may continue on the progress of getting this constructed as soon as possible.
second,
It was moved by the mayor and seconded by Awig to add the emergency clause to T76 to continue the progress with the project. On that emergency clause alone, all in favor say yes.
yes,
All opposed say no. It was then moved by the mayor and seconded by Awig to adopt T76 with the emergency clause in place. Are there any comments and questions? Hearing none, clerk, please call the roll.
yes,
Luce,
Yes.
Havens,
Yes.
Winkle,
Yes.
Haywick,
yes,
DeVries,
Yes.
Jacobs.
Yes.
Motion carries unanimously and it becomes 5949-2022.
T77.
77-2022, a resolution authorizing the use of standard allowance for the local fiscal fund as authorized by the American Rescue Plan Act.
Mr. President,
Yes, Mr. Mayor.
move to dispense with the second and third readings for T77.
second,
Mr. President, the choice of using the standard allowance was an option that we had provided to us under the law. We had to make an election as to which direction we were going to go. And we chose to use the standard allowance for the funds that are through this act. There was a recommendation that we ask council for a resolution. It was not required for us to make that choice, but we wanted to bring this to your attention. As noted in the ordinance itself, there is a discussion about infrastructure purposes, and we'll be taking a look at using the funds for that purpose.
It was moved by the mayor and seconded by Awig to dispense with the second and third readings for T77. All in favor say yes.
Yes.
All opposed say no.
Mr. President, move to adopt.
second,
Mr. President, move to add the emergency clause for the reasons stated earlier.
second,
It was moved by the mayor and seconded by Awig to add the emergency clause to T77 for the reasons stated by the mayor. On the emergency clause alone, all in favor say yes.
Yes.
All opposed say no. It was then moved by the mayor and seconded by Awig to adopt T77 with the emergency clause in place. Are there any comments or questions? Hearing none, clerk, please call the roll.
Swank,
Yes.
Luce,
Yes.
Havens,
Yes.
Winkle,
Yes.
Haywick,
yes,
DeVries,
Yes.
Jacobs.
Yes.
The motion carries unanimously and becomes resolution 1565-2022.
Right, on to second readings now, T 53.
T 53-2022, ordinance authorizing the execution of then and now certificates by the city fiscal officer and the payment of amounts due for various purchase orders.
Mr. President,
Yes, Mr. Peters.
I move to substitute T 53-2022 with the amended version the council seat before them this evening.
It was moved by DeVries and seconded by Winkle to amend T 53 with the version that you have at your desks. Are there any comments or questions at this time?
Mr. President,
Yes, Mr. Mayor.
I'd like to point out that this is a great step in the right direction. There is an opportunity to go even further and make the use of then and nows next to non-existent. I understand, why council's going in this direction. I just throwing out there that there is an opportunity to do it even better. And I just wanted to bring that to your attention.
Okay, thank you. Are there any other comments, questions at this time?
Actually, I'm sorry, Mr. President. I should add that, the then and now has come about because there was a point in the process where something happened that causes this to come back before council. But, they exist. There's a bill. That's why they come up. And there's a bill that needs to be paid. And in most cases, it's money that council has appropriated previously. They've discussed it during the budget process. They approve it when they approve the budget. So this is just going ahead and allowing us to pay a bill that already exists. And council already knows that the money has been put aside for this purpose. So then and now is just allow us to pay a bill, in a orderly fashion. This will allow us to pay more bills in a more immediate fashion. There'll still be an opportunity now under this ordinance where then and nows will come before this council just for their approval. I don't believe that there's ever been a then and now that's been rejected, if I remember correctly. So it's just a process that that we go through to pay a bill that council has approved the expenditure, mostly in the previous year when they go through the budget. There are a couple of times where then and nows have come up where money has to be appropriated, but those are always joined with an appropriation change, an amendment. So, council is still intimately involved in the process, whether you did a blanket then and now or this version. You're still involved in the payment of those bills. It's just when you're involved. That's it.
Okay, thank you for that explanation. Are there any other comments or questions? Motion on the floor is made by DeVries and seconded by Winkle to amend T 53 with the version before us at our desks. Clerk, please call the roll.
Yes.
Bruce,
Yes.
Avons,
Yes.
Winkle,
Yes.
Haywood,
Yes.
DeVries,
Yes.
Jacobs.
Yes.
Motion carried unanimously. It becomes ordinance 59.
No, that's only second.
Only on the substitution of amendment.
Right, so T 53 has been amended to the version in front of us this evening. We'll move on to T 65.
65-2022, an ordinance repealing and replacing NRCO Chapter 264 Civil Service Commission.
T 66. Sorry.
T67-2022, PID number 102703, project name Lorraine, State Route 83, 10.79. An ordinance cooperating with the Director of the Ohio Department of Transportation to replace the bridge deck parapets on Lorraine State Route 83, 10.79, which crosses over State Route 10 with the city of North Richmond.
T 69.
P69 2022, an ordinance authorizing the mayor to enter into an agreement to amend a memorandum of ground lease agreement with PMJ Park Holdings LLC.
All right, there are no third readings this evening. The next regular council meeting will be held on Monday, May 16th, at 7 p.m. here in City Council Chambers. At this time, do any council members or the administration have any final comments or questions? Just a reminder to everybody, tomorrow is election day, so please exercise your right to vote. Thank you very much, folks. Have a good night.